阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，世界各地的莲花
Amitabha,
童子们，大家早
fellow
上
Padma
好，
Kumaras
午
from all
安，
around the
晚
world.
上吉祥。
Good
我是
morning,
今天
good
的主持
afternoon, good
人，莲
evening
花
to
美法
all.
助教。
I'm
我来自
today's
马来西亚沙
MC
巴本觉雷
from
藏寺。
Malaysia,
今天是二
DA
零二四
Mayor.
年9月27日，星期五。
Today is the
在这里还
27th
是和往常
September
一样，跟
2024,
大家报告
Friday.
一下。我们这第五
Here
门
we'd
课
like
生日
to
礼仪
do a
都
quick
是三
reporting
语
to
直播，
everybody.
大家可以在 Zoom 这里
So
选
for
择
the
华语频道、
course
英
on the
语频
etiquette
道
of
及印尼
life,
语频
similar
道。
to previous
课程结束后，我
classes,
们都
there
会
will
把
be
三语视
three
频发在我们真佛
there will
州
be
全球网
three
络教学与
languages
同修的 YouTube 频道
available,
上，大家到时
including
候可以
the
在
main
那里收
language
看
in
全部的
Chinese,
课程回
English,
播。
and
希望
Indonesian.
大家也
So
告
if
诉
you
你身
like a
边的人，
recap of the
一起
class,
看回
you
播。
can head over
来，我已
to
经
the
把这个
YouTube
链接
channel.
发在我们的这个留言区里面了，大家快点把它给储存出来
So
吧。
if you like a
我们今天
recap,
的
you
课程
can
是生
head
命礼仪
over
的第
to
二
the
章，
chat box. There
对
will
死
be
亡的
the
浪子
link
第八
provided.
节，圆满的
And
临终
today
中阴
we
教
will
法
have
及
chapter
四
2,
种
what
往
should one
生
know
净
about
土的
death?
形式。
Lesson
我
8,
们将在台湾
the
时
complete
间
teaching
晚
of the
上
Bardo
8
of
整
dying and the
正
four
式进
types
入
of
课
rebirth
程。
in the Pure
课
Land.
程开始
And
之
we'll
前，
officially start the
让我们
class
先
at
来
8
复习一
p.m.
下
sharp.
上一节课第二章
So
对死
before
亡
we
的认
start
知
today's
第
class,
七节
let's do a
临
quick
终中
revision
阴
of the
四
previous
最后一
lesson
课的三类
on
救度的
lesson
重点。
7,
第
the
一，
Bardo of
三类的救
dying,
度就是自
the
利、
three
自省、
powers of
修持的功
deliverance
德、
at the
他
final
力、
moment.
依仗佛菩萨的
The
加
first
持
one
力、
is
法
self
界
power,
力、诸佛菩萨金刚护法
and we
空
also
行
have
诸天的
other
综合
other
之力。
external powers,
二，
and we also have
灵魂
Dharma
从
powers.
顶穴而出，就是往生净土的保证吗？三，寺庙是
Secondly,
终
whether
身
when
得
the
到
soul
最
exits
光
from the
明净
crown
土的所
chakra, whether
在。
it's a guarantee
师
for
尊
being
开示
reborn
中
in
阴
the
身
Pure
最
Land.
适合去的地方有三处：第一，根本上师处所；第二，寺庙、同修的堂及同修会；第三，塔。中阴身到同修的寺庙或道场，只要一心修法，一心念佛持咒，
So
佛菩萨
Grandmaster
本
has
尊
also
光明
shared
摄照，
that
就到
the
佛国
Bardo
净土去了。
would
这就
typically
是
like
上
to
个
go
星
to
期
three
的要
different
点。
areas,
接下来
including
我想和大家分享
different
死的
chapters,
三根本。
cultivation venues.
一下子哈，好的，大家都看到哈。死的三根本，有人说死了就算
So
了，
some
没
people
什么
say
了不
that
起。有人说死了20年后又是一条好汉，这个就好像那些江湖的人
it
说的
doesn't
话，对
matter
吧？ 有
once
人说
someone
人
dies.
死就像睡觉一样，没什么好怕的。这些话听起来很洒脱，很自
So
在，就
so
如
some
同
also
在动
said
物园
that
里眺望
after
缸
one
中
has
的老
passed
虎一
on
样。但
for
真
after
正
20
面
years of
临死
one's
亡时，
passing,
则有如在山中碰
it'll
见
be
老虎，
is like a
吓
good
得
man.
魂飞魄散，屁滚尿流。
And some also
平
say
常之
that
洒脱自
death
在，
is like
顿时烟消云
sleeping,
散。
nothing to be
圣尊
afraid
开示
about.
道：学会死亡，才能懂得生命意义；超越死亡，才能印证生命价值。一念弥
So
陀，安乐
Grandmaster
永
has also
结。
expounded that learning about death is
1991
would
年
only
11月
would
11日，
only
圣
one
尊
would
延
able
生
to
活佛
learn
读
the
圣
value
院
of
与真佛
life.
密院开示道：死有三根本，假如你经常想这死的三根本，你就会很快乐，绝对不会悲伤。
So in
死的第一根本
1991,
就
on
是
the
每个
11th
人
of
都
November,
会
Living
死的，
Buddha
不
Linshen
管
has
你是当
also
皇帝、
um,
乞丐，不管你
shared
是
as
多
part
有
of his
钱
Dharma
多穷，
talks
不管你是学
that there are
仙
three
学佛，
different
时
routes
间
to
到了，
dying.
你都要
If
死。
you constantly or you frequently
不知
think
道
about
你什
death,
么时候
you
要
will
死，
be really
除了谁
happy
先
and
选
you will
好
not be
或
sad.
者特别的
So
以
the
外，
first
谁都
one,
不知
the
道
first
哪一天
understanding
要
is that
死。
everyone will
死的
die.
第三根本，你死的时候
The
什
second
么
one is
都
you don't
没
know
有，
when you are going
你
to
就是
die.
再有
And
智
the
慧，
third one
再
is
有学
when
问，
you are
再有
dying,
钱，
you
或
are left
有
with
再
nothing.
多的东西，你死的时候什么
So on the
都
third
没有。
point is that
所以
even
做一
if you
个修
have
行
a
人，
lot of
第一个
wisdom, you
要
have a
素
lot of
不但
knowledge,
要
a lot of
认识死，
wealth and
不
other
怕死，
material
还
goods,
要不
you
怕
are left
生，
with nothing
不生
upon
不死
death.
才是修行人。
So the
无
the
常
key
必死神道，
priority is
很多人都
cultivation.
知道人生无常，可谁也不能把握自己
And
在下一
many
刻不
people
死。
know that
大家
life is
也了解轮
impermanent.
回恶
No
趣
one
的
is
痛苦，
able to
谁也不想堕
have
落。
control
然而，在罪业未
of
尽
the
化
next
前，
moment of not
谁
being
也
able
无法
of
解
not
脱
dying
这
during the
种
next
可怕的
moment.
命运。一般众生死后，若堕入
Everyone
恶趣，
also
受
understands the
业障
pain
的异
in
熟果报， 时间
transmigration
极长，在
and
咸
falling
经
into
中
the
已经
different
有周
realms
游
of
孙佛时
samsara.
代做下的一
No
名
one is
僧
hoping
人，
to do that.
因贪污身众之财产，而且恶口骂人，
So
以
until
此
we
恶业
eradicate
堕
all
入
our
地狱
karmic
多劫，
hindrances, no one
从地
is
狱出
able
国
to
后，
escape
又出生为
from
怪鱼，
this
且
fate.
生生世世
So
于粪
typically
坑
after
中，
one's
这
death, they
些
will
界
fall
千佛
into
内都得不到解
different
脱。
forms of suffering
回
based
想
on their own
回
karmic
首想想
hindrances
自己一生中
and
所造的
consequences.
种种恶业，若在今生不忏悔、不精进修持，
So we
一
should
旦无
often
常
think
必
about
死
our
神
own
道，
lives,
宜中医感到
think
恐
about
惧，
any
及后
karmic
悔莫及。有
consequences.
些人以为
If
在
you
中
don't
阴时
repent in your
可能
present
得
life
到
and
救
don't
度，
diligently
然而
cultivate,
芸芸众生又有几个呢？这个就是我今天的这个分享，大家看了是不是
so it's
觉
good that
得
everyone
现在
should
这个
learn
修行
about the
才等
Bardo,
几时呢？对不对？所以大家记得
because
每乐
once
一
you
些，
start to feel
这是
afraid
最基本
and
的，
feel
也是
regretful,
我
it will
们
be
供
too
养师尊
late.
最好的一个啊。好，我们今天课程结束后，依然会有释疑解惑的环节。
And
我
similar
们会
for
恭请
today's
莲叶
lesson,
上
at
师
the
为大
end
家
of the
一一的
class,
解
we
答
will
疑
have a
惑。
Q&A
我们会
segment.
先回
We'll
答
invite
昨天
Master
星期
Lin
还没有
Yue
解答
to
的问
address
题，
the
再来才是今
queries.
天的疑问及问题。在这里
We will
要很
first
详
address
细
the
的提
questions
醒大
from the
家，
previous
一定要
class
问和今天课程有关的问题，千
before
万不要
we
问一些题
address
外问
new
题哦。谢
questions
谢大
and
家。 如果你
gently
方便的
remind
话，也希望
everyone
你能
that
够把
your
摄像头打
questions should
开，
be
因为莲叶上
relevant
师会
to
漫
the
步看你
content
们
of the
的，你们都不
class.
知道，对不对？我偷偷告诉你们，莲
So
叶上师有时候会看一下你们，这个是谁呀？什么名字啊？
if
所
you
以呢，
can, please also turn on your cameras
大家记得把摄像头打
because
开。如果
our
看到
lecturer,
好像
Master
好
Lin
像
Yue,
别
she
的
might
上师在看
also
我们，我们的
take a
莲上
look
师
at
挥一挥手，
everybody
好不
here.
好？谢谢大家。
And you
那
can
么在今
also
天这一
wave
节
at your
中呢，
camera, wave at
佛
Master Lin
学知
Yue.
识渊博的莲叶上师将为我们深度解析什
And
么是
today
圆
we
满的
will
灵经
have
中阴教法，
Master Lin Yue
其要
talk
点
about
如
the
何，
complete teaching
何
of the
谓
Bardo
四
of the
种
dying
往
and the
生
four
净土的
types
形
of
式。
rebirth in the
往
Pure
生
Land.
净土需具备哪些条
So
件
what
呢？待
was
会
the
莲叶
complete
上
teaching of
师
the Bardo
将
of the
为大家
dying?
在这
What are the
课
key
程中
points? What are
详
the
细
four
讲
types of
述。
rebirth in the Pure
我
Land
们的
and
时
what
间
conditions must
还有
one meet to be
20秒
reborn
就来
in
到
the
了
Pure
晚
Land?
上8点了，
So
大家
just
已经准
another
备好
20
你们的
seconds to
纸
the
和
start
笔了
of
吗？
today's class at 8
有
p.m.
谁做功
Hope
课
that
的同
everyone
门，
has prepared your
要考
writing
试要做
materials.
功课的同门，写心得的同门，记得先把要点写下来，
So
然
a
后
gentle
下课后
reminder
就立
for
刻
those
把它
who
洗出来，放上去我们
are
的群组。
required to
好不
undergo
好？
the
好，我
examination
们的课
and
程
write
现在
down
正
your
式开
reflection
始。
points
首先，让
to
我
get
们大
prepared.
家一起虔
And
诚
we'll start
恭
today's
敬合
class.
掌，
Firstly, let's put our
顶礼
palms
根本传
together.
承上师圣
Pay
尊
homage
莲
to
生活
Root
佛，
Lineage
历
Guru, our
代
Root
传
Lineage
承
Guru,
祖
Living
的
Buddha
师，
Lian Sheng, Lineage
传承
Gurus, our
三
true
宝
Buddha School,
诸佛
all
菩萨，
Buddhas,
祈
Bodhisattvas,
请
Maha
圣
Sattvas,
尊
Dhamma
莲生
protectors
活
of the
佛大
shrine.
力加持，今乐课程
We
顺
hope that
利吉
we
祥
pray that
圆
our
满，
Grandmaster
请
will
大
be able
家
to
手结
bless
莲花
today's
图
class.
纸手
Everything will
印，
be smooth.
持诵
And
莲
we
花
invite
图
everyone
纸
to
心
form the
咒
Pama
短
Kumara
咒7遍，
Mudra,
持
recite the
咒
Pama Kumara
Om
Heart
Guru
Mantra
Len Sang
7 times.
Siddhi Hum,
Vincent
Om Guru
Siddhi
Len
Home.
Sang
Om
Siddhi Hum,
Guru Lian Shan
Om Guru
Siddhi
Len
Home.
Sang
Om
Siddhi
Guru
Hum,
Lian Shan
Om Guru
Siddhi
Len
Home.
Sang
Om
Siddhi
Guru
Hum,
Lian Shan
Om Guru
Siddhi
Len
Home.
Sang
Om
Siddhi
Guru
Hum,
Lian Shan
Om Guru
Siddhi
Len
Home.
Sang
Om
Siddhi
Guru
Hum,
Lian Shan
Om
Siddhi
Guru
Home.
Len Sang
Om Guru
Siddhi
Lian
Hum。
Shan Siddhi Home.
阿弥陀佛，尊敬的授课师莲叶
Amitabha.
上师，尊敬的会长
Our
莲花成
Honorable
祖上
Lecturer,
师，
Master
尊
Lian
敬的
Yue,
教育处处
Honorable
长莲和
TPF
上
Chairman,
师，
Master Cheng
尊敬
Su,
的公关处
Education
处长
Director,
瑜伽
Master
上
Lian
师，
Ha.
尊敬的莲飞上
We
师，
have PR
以及
Director,
线上
Master
尊
Lian
敬的
Jia,
上师、教
Master
授
Lian
师、
Fei,
法师、讲
all
师、
Master Senior
助教
Reverends,
以及
Reverends,
世界各
DIs and
地的莲
DAs,
花童子们，
fellow
大家早上
Padma
好，午
Kumaras from
安，
all around the
晚
world, good
上吉
morning,
祥。
good
欢迎大
afternoon, good
家参加
evening to
今天的课
everybody.
程。上一节
Welcome
课，
to
莲叶上
today's
师为
class.
我们讲解了第
So
二章
last
对
week,
死亡的
we
认知
had
第
Master
7
Lian
节，
Yue talk
临终
about
中阴世最后一个
chapter
人
2,
三
what
力
one
救
need to do
度。
about that,
上
what
师
one need
讲
to
解
know about
一
dying.
三力
Lesson
的救
7, the
度就
Bardo
是
of
自
dying,
力、他
the
力
three
及
powers
法
of
界力。
deliverance at the final
二
moment.
寺庙
We
是
have
中阴
the
身
three
得到
different
最光
powers.
明救度的所在。三、中阴身到同修的寺庙或道场，只要一心修法，一心
Which
念
are
佛
like
持
your
咒，
self
佛
power,
菩
we
萨
have
本
other
尊光
powers,
临摄导，
external
就
powers,
到
and
净
also
土
Dharma
清净的
powers.
佛国去了。
And the
今
three
天我
different
们将
places
引
that the
来第
Bardo
二
would
章，
typically
对死
go
亡的
to
认知
after
第8节，
being
圆满
delivered.
的临终中阴
And
教
today
法
we have
及4种
lesson
往
8,
生
the
净
complete
土的
teaching of the
赏赐。
Bardo of dying
接
and
下
the
来
four
就让
types
我
of
们以
rebirth in the
最
Pure
热烈
Land.
的掌声，即打
And
上
now let's
222，
put our
有
hands
请教授
together.
师、佛学知识渊博的莲叶上师为我们大家更详细的讲授。
We like
有
to
请莲叶
welcome
上
Master
师，谢
Lian Yue
谢。
to
阿弥陀
conduct today's
佛，
class. You
我
can
们
type 2222
一
in the
心
chat
努
box.
力，我们
Amitabha.
最尊贵、最敬爱
Let's
的根本上
firstly pay
师
homage
圣尊
to
莲生
our
活佛，
most
顶礼
honorable
密教
root
祖师
lineage
南无
guru,
密
Living
法
Buddha
生
Lian
大
Sheng.
士，顶礼坛城三宝，祈
To
请
all
放光加持，
lineage gurus of
让我
True Buddha
们
School,
今日临终关怀的分享，
pray for them to
教法的甘露，
bestow light
如
upon
甘
us
露般
and hope that
连绵
today's
不
class
断
would be smooth
灌顶着我们的全身心，
as we talk about
让我们得
end of
到
life
甘露
care
的灌顶，让我们闻法得到无上的喜
and we
悦
are，able to get the
让我
empowerment,
们听闻这珍贵的教
are
法，
able to
能
receive
够尽
ultimate
施
joy,
实修，直至成
are
就。
able to respect the guru.
好，我们敬爱的会长莲花城主
the
上
Dharma
师，
and also
敬爱
able
的
to
莲鹤
gain
上师、莲家上师、
spiritual
莲飞上
attainment.
师，以及在线
So
上所
Honorable
有的
TBF
上
Chairman,
师、教
Master
授
Cheng
师、
Zu,
法师、讲师、助教，以及各
we
位
have
珍贵
all
的莲
online
花童
masters,
子，
senior
大家
reverends,
晚上好，
reverends,
大家吉
all
祥，阿弥陀佛。
Dharma
那
instructors
么
and
我们
assistants
今
of
天
Pama
呢，
Kumaras around
要
the world,
圆
Amitabha.
满的来
And
做一
today
个在临终中阴的教室的总整理。那么刚刚呢，美娥助教
today
他
we
提
will
到了
talk
几个
about
在
end
前
of
面
life
提到了
care,
几句非常
and it
有
will
意
be a
义、
complete
也有
sharing about
意
that.
思的话。
And
其中
previously,
呢有一
DA
句哈，
may
他
talk
说
about a
在
few
中阴
important and
时
meaningful
得
points.
到救度的
The first
现
one,
金有多少？在中阴能够得到救度的现金有多少？大家确认你自己就是，那么请打上888。
how many Bardo spirits are able to be delivered,
我们所有听这一堂
whether
课
you
的
yourself
啊，
feel
一
confident
定
that you're
要
able,
自己给自己一个非常非常重要的目标，我们能够
you must set
得
a
闻
very, very
这
important
珍贵的
target
中
for
阴叫
yourselves.
得度法，切莫错过此生，切莫
They
错
are
过此
able
生的
to
休息。
get this Dharma of
这个是
liberation
我们
through
在这一堂课里面
hearing in the
一定
intermediate
要互
Bardo
相
stage,
那么今天呢，我跟大家
where
讲，
we should all
分享的
resonate
是
with today's
自己
class.
往生的形
And
式。
today we would like to
那么
share with
其实呢，
everybody
我常常
the
感受
four
到一个非
types
常
of
深
rebirth
刻的
in
恩
the
典，
Pure Land.
就是法界有情，法界有情。佛菩
And
萨
very
很
often,
悲悯，
Master Lian Yue
在整
actually
个无尽的
feels
法界虚空，
a
对
lot,
众
feel
生
very
的爱，
blessed
对
because
众生的
there's a
救
lot of
度，
love within the
对众
Dharma
生
realm.
一切给予圆满的加持的这个愿力无处不在。
A lot of
只是
blessings
我们有没有连线？我们有没有
that are
明白
bestowed
释尊
upon
的
all
心，
sentient
明
beings.
白佛菩萨的心？
But
我
whether
们是不
we
是能够
fully
体会这
understand
深的恩典？
our
所
Grandmaster,
以根本上是
the
说，
love from our
灌
Grandmaster,
顶
from
法
our
流，
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas,
灌顶的法流永不枯竭，也就是师尊佛菩萨的愿力恒在虚空，根本上是
the power
生
of
生世
the
世的
vows
守护
made
众
by
生，
the Buddhas and
愿力
Bodhisattvas from our
遍满整个
Grandmasters,
法界，无处
they
不
will
在。
not
但是
expire, they
我
will
们
not
对根本
end.
上师的思念有多少？所以，当我们意念根本
But
上师
in
的时
return,
候，
how
就得
much do
到根
we
本上师的灌顶
think
跟加持。
about
所以
Grandmaster?
灌顶的法流永不枯竭。当我们意念、我们思念的时候，我们就与根本上
When
师、
we
与佛菩
think
萨
about
连线。
our Grandmaster, when we think
过
about Buddhas
那
and
常常
Bodhisattvas,
太多
this
的念头
connection
都
will
在
not
世
break,
俗
but
的
very
身上，
often
所以
we
我们
have too many
一般的
thoughts
众
in
生
our
都是
too
跟
many
世
thoughts
俗
that
红
are
尘
focused
连
on the
线，
secular
跟所
world,
有财色名食睡一切的欲望不断的连
on
线，
all
因
these
此
thoughts
升起了很
range
多的
from
贪嗔痴。
wealth
所以我们是什么族呢？啊，
and
很
all
是
and
不满
greed
足。对，
and
很
all
多
the
事情
different
我们的欲望
poisons
永
in
远是无
the
满足。
secular world.
但是呢，
And we are
大家
constantly
知道吗？
not
在我们
contented
这一
with many
生
things,
的生命的
and we
历
have a
程
lot of
是多么
desires.
珍贵
But
呢？因为
do we
在
know
这一段
that
期间，我花了很多堂的课，一直
this
在讲
journey
临
in
终
life
中
is
阴。
really
那
very
临终
precious?
中阴这一段，
Like, Master Lian Yue has spent
我们在说
numerous
是黄
classes
金
to
8
talk
小时，
about
像
the
黄
end
金
of
一样。
life care.
往生前的8个小时，往生后的8个小时，外分解、内
When we
分
talk
解，
about the
就这样
golden 8
短短的
hours,
一
when we
段
talk
时
about the
间，
internal
为
and
什么
external
我们花了那
dissolution,
么多
this
的
short
课
period of
程
time,
来
why do
做
we
这个分
spend
享呢？
so many classes
我
just to
们
do this
再来
sharing?
看一下今天的 PPT 吧。我
Now
们从
let's
PPT
take a
我
look
们来
at
了
today's
解啊，今天
PowerPoint
这
slides
个课程呢，为什么在临终中阴里面呢是那么的重要，对于我们的这
and
个
why
此
this
生
is so important,
好，
why
大家看到
the
这一
knowledge
张
on
啊，
end of life
我
care
们
is
的
so
4种
important to our
或
lives.
许大家说
So when we look
哦，
at today's,
这个已经
look at
看
the
过好几
slides,
次啦啊。但
you
是
look
我
at the
要
four
跟大
types
家
of
讲
Bardo,
好， 我
you
们
might
从这一
realize
张
that oh, you have
我
seen
们
it
来了
many
解什么
times.
呢？好，第一个生
So
处
through this
中阴，
diagram, what can we
请问
understand? The
生
first
处中
one
阴，
is the
我们
Bardo
这一
of
生有
birth
多
and
长？
life.
就算它100 年
So question
吧，
for everyone, how
100
long
岁
is our
吧。
life?
我们的生处中阴就
Maybe
只有
100 years.
年呐，是吗？已经够长寿的吧？
So it also means that the
接下来
Bardo
第
of
二个
birth
中
and
阴
life
是什
is
么？
only 100
临
years.
终中
And
阴。
this is
临
considered
终中
quite
阴
a
跟
long
我的
life.
外分
And the second one, we have Bardo of dying, where we break into external and internal dissolution. And we talk about the golden 8 hours. And we talk about the disintegration into the different elements.
那我们临终中阴只有多少个小时呢？16个小时。哎呀，这16个小时的一切，受我们身处中阴100
So
年
when
的
we
影
talk
响。
about the Bardo of dying, maybe we have 16 hours, and this impact is really great.
接下来灵魂离开肉体之后，进入实相中阴。
So golden 8 hours, there's 8 hours.
多久啊？
Then we move on to the next stage.
几天？哎，7 49天呐，
We have the 49 days, the critical period.
49天之后要进入什么？
And then after 49 days, we then enter the Bardo of becoming. And how long is this?
投生中有多长？
How long is this stage of Bardo becoming?
无尽。
This is endless.
我们身处中阴这一段的生命
Endless times of transmigration within the 6 realms of samsara.
我们活了100岁，纵使说恭喜恭喜，你很长寿。那么
So while one can live for 100 years, which is pretty long, but if we don't cultivate during your life of 100 years, you are only creating more karmic hindrances during your life of 100 years. And at the end of your life, what can you bring along? All your wealth, material goods, sleep, everything cannot be brought along with you after your own death. The only thing that will accompany you will be all your karma, which there will be both wholesome and unwholesome karma. So in our lives, for our present life, what should we bring along with us at the end of our lives? After understanding, we'll then be able to re-understand what is the meaning and value of our life. The Bardo of birth and life, just a short span of 100 years. After that, you enter Bardo of dying. Within the golden 8 hours, there are different opportunities. During the golden 8 hours, it will show whether we are truly dead, how good this person is. So some say that dying is akin to sleeping, nothing to be afraid about. Is that truly the case?
这个涅镜台在哪里呀？在我们心事之中，在我们心事之中，这个涅镜台是怎么样的一个呈现呢？当我们人死后，我们的心事
So upon our own death,
我们这一生所做的一切
a lot of our thoughts will be replayed. All the thoughts from our past life will be replayed.
我们才说我们到底怕不怕？有什么好怕？ 这个涅镜台呢，师尊在《维摩诘经》里面
Within
有开示，他说科学家
within this place called the 涅镜台，
死了以后，心脏停止了以后，我们的脑波还在动，我们的脑波还有能
So a
量。
lot of the scientists prove that
这个脑波的
even
作意呢，
after
会显现了我们生前所做的
our
一切。
even after our own death,
那这是不是科学家也从脑波来
there are
证明
still
有涅
a
镜
lot of
台这件事呢？
frequency
所以人死了以后，
brain
20年
a
事实
lot
上
of
是一
the
条
brain
question， 也等于是说
frequencies of
根本
signals
没有
are
这回事，
being
没有这回
detected
事，
from our
因为
brain
万般带不走，只有业随身。所以我们在分享
So
临
the
终关
only
怀的
thing
这
that
样
will
的一个课
accompany
程
us
里面
after
呢，
our own death
非
would
常
be
非
all the
常
karma.
非常
Nothing else can
希
be
望
brought along with
透过
us.
这个我们课程的
So
分享，
through this
透过
course
这么珍贵
on
的
end
经
of
验，
life dying,
我们
hopefully
来认识我们这一生
we are
有
able
多么
to
重要。不
understand
管这
the
100 年
importance of our
已经
life,
过了几年，不重要。纵使这100
regardless
年
of the
我们
number
只
of
剩
times
下
that we
一
have gone
天，
through
都珍贵。
this period of 100
这
days,
100年
100 years,
还有一息的呼吸，珍贵的不得了。这都
as
是
long as we
我
still
们
have
可以
one
从
breath
教法的认
is
知
very
当
precious,
下，让自己的生命升起不一样的价
and
值，
we are able
对我
to
们自己的
give
修
rise
行
to
升起
another
更
level
不同
of
的价值跟
significance
意义。所以
and
我
meaning.
非常用心的不断再次的
So
复习，
Master Lin
只
Yue
是要跟大家共勉。
takes the
我们的生
time
命
and
不一
effort
样，
to
我们的修
revise,
行可以不一样。
and hopefully
我们这一
everyone would
生
be able
我
to
们将会
resonate
影响
with
到我们
the
临
meaning
终
of
中的
life,
黄金8小时。我们这一生
because this will
将会影响到我们
have an
10项
impact
中阴的
on the
49
golden
天。
8 hours
我们
during
这一生
one's
将
dying.
要断掉
It will also
我
affect
们
the
在
49
六
days
道
after
的一切
that.
的投生，因为
We
三
want
业
to
中
put a stop to
自利
any reincarnations into the 6
自利
realms.
我们这一生当中一定要修，好好的修。他力
We have the
当我
3
们意念根本
powers
丧失的时
of
候，
deliverance. The
万
first
能
one
的法
is
源
self
永
power.
不
We
止
must depend
根
our
本
own
上师是不
cultivation.
断的在交融着。
The
当我们
second
意念
one is
佛
our
法的时
power
候，
from our root
我们跟菩
guru,
萨是交融
grandmaster,
的。交融在哪里？
our connection,
一切的明光
our
当中。
connection and
所以
interaction with
法界力
Buddhas and
更是慈
Bodhisattvas.
悲方便。当你确信根本上师的
We
接引，
also have,
你也愿意
once you have a deep
得到根本
belief
上师的
in
接引。这是我们的愿意哦。根本
in
上师的
grandmaster
接引
receiving
鼓
us,
励，我们愿意根本上师的接
we
引
are-
自
we
利。
willing,
再来
we also
法界
willingly
力
allow
确信
grandmaster to
要
receive
往
us
生摩诃双缘寺。我们这一
and
生
deeply believe that
没有
you'll
其他
be
的了，
re
没有其他的。
reborn in
我们愿意
the Pure
根本
Land.
上师来加持我们，所以我们就
We
时时常
willingly
常
let
感受到根本上
grandmaster
师的恩典。
bless
我
us,
们愿
so
意
we constantly and
根本上
frequently
师
feel
来
the
指
kind
引
of
我们，
blessing that
来
we
加持
receive from grandmaster.
我们就会明白尽
We will
是
then
佛
understand
法实修。
the
我们愿
importance
意
of
相信，
respecting the guru,
在我们这一世之后，我们
the
会回到
importance of the
我
Dharma,
们自己
and also
最美
cultivating
的家，我
diligently,
们的净土。我们确定相信，
and
我们
then
对这一
go
生
back
在
to
上
our
面所
forever
做
home,
的一切
our
恩
Pure
怨情
Land,
仇，一切所有的一切种
and
种的一切
believe
因
that
缘，我们
all affinities,
非常非常的感恩。
adversities,
因此，
and all
我们相信，
matters
当我们
that
回到
belong to the
摩诃庄
secular
严寺的
world,
时候，我
When we go back to Pure Land, whatever that we see will be the Padma Kumaras. When we are purified, we are able to attain spiritual union with our root lineage guru, living Buddha Lin Sheng. And we only see a purified land, only seeing Padma Kumaras, and telling ourselves that everything is a perfect arrangement because every thought is on our principal deity, or when we go through adversities in life, we know that our root guru, living Buddha Lin Sheng, is always giving us empowerment. Once we constantly have such thoughts, we are also constantly on the path of cultivation. So when we look at end of life care, the golden 8 hours, we hope to use the course to do a complete conclusion. So the first stage, the Bardo of birth and life, this life of ours is truly very precious. For one to be able to live 100 years, for example, this is considered very long. And during this stage of our life, every second, every minute, every thought is very precious. We should understand that when we go from the Bardo of birth and life to the Bardo of dying, within the Bardo of dying, we have the external and internal dissolution. We only have a very, very short span of the golden 8 hours. Once the Bardo leaves the physical body, and we look at the Bardo or luminosity of the true nature, this only comprise 49 days. And moving on, when we enter the Bardo of becoming, that would then be boundless and endless reincarnation. So when we look at these 4 different types of Bardo, which is the one that we will need to get hold of? So when we live presently, what kind of value should we have for our lives? So let's do a recap of the golden 8 hours as part of the end of life care. So during the dying stage, when we have the disintegration into the earth, water, fire, and wind elements, this is the external dissolution.
所以外分解我们地水火风的元素一层一层的消失。
So we have the 4 different elements disappearing progressively. So for the earth, we have our skin, our bones, and all conductive nerves throughout the body. The water, we have the blood, urine, sweat, tears, snot, and more. The secretions of the entire body. This is the bindus. We have the fire, that's the temperature of our body, and wind would be our breath. So these four elements will go through the dissolution.
是吗？在我们的二观内法里面，外法修心，内法修气。
So when we look at external and internal cultivation for external cultivation methods, we look at cultivating our mind, and for internal cultivation methods, we look at the 5 chakras. So our internal cultivation would actually help to cultivate our qi. We are able to train and cultivate. We are able to open up the inner energy.
为我们开示的非常非常的清楚，这个是外分解的阶段。外分解，地水火风。
So this is the stage of the external dissolution.
而慢慢的在这个元素消失的时候，让自己
So when all these 4 elements
虽然它有很大的
get eradicated, while there's a high level of suffering,
身安住。所以呢，我们
as long as we focus that in our mind there's no suffering,
而这安定的
and we depend on our own cultivation levels to get through this stage. So we have suffering of the physical body. We also have suffering in the mind, and also spiritual suffering. As long as we can constantly visualize Grandmaster and deeply believe and have faith that our root lineage guru is able to bless us and receive us, and despite all challenges and adversities, if we can constantly have such a thought, we will be blessed. So after this stage of external dissolution, we will then enter the next. After we have gone through the death of the physical body, we will then move on to internal dissolution.
是切断的，都是息息相关的。我们在深处中阴里面，所有的一切
So all the bardos are connected.
在进入临终中阴的外分解，生的痛
So
苦
when we move into the external dissolution, where we look at the dying of the physical body,
慢慢的透过我们的修持而得到，让我们的心
through our own cultivation, we are able to put our mind at peace. And within this stable state of mind, we will then be able to get through this stage of external dissolution more easily.
我们的念头还不能安定的时候，第一个明光一定没有办法认取，是吗？因为当我们心没有安定
So if our state of mind is unstable,
净光显现没有办法如此显现我们的净光的时候，第一道明光一定没有办法认取。
we will not be able to attain the first time light.
我们要明白，无念
So for this,
正觉佛报。
we always talk about the key teachings of the True Buddha Sutra. And one includes how having no thoughts is a jewel of Having no thoughts is one of the Buddha's jewel to attaining enlightenment. So what is the duration of the first time light appearing? This is similar to the duration of one's meditation and entering the samadhi. If you're unable to achieve entering the samadhi during your own meditation, it is difficult to obtain entering the first time light. And what is the peeve of able to obtain the second time light? So this is an alternative opportunity if one is unable to obtain the first time light. And so the peeve for obtaining the second time light would be to have your concentration and have every thought on your own principal deity, which is to always obtaining spiritual union with your own principal deity and uniting as one. Only which you then have some chances, only some, of gaining this second time light. So as a practitioner, we should always have our thoughts on the principal deity, which is a huge challenge for many practitioners. So when we recite 108 times of Grandmaster's heart mantra, during the process, do we actually have any side thoughts arising? So as we review this, we are able to determine and assess if we are able to have our thoughts all on our principal deity. So when we talk about the first and the second time light, it really depends on our own power and own ability. So in the previous lesson, we also talked about if we lose the two time light is when the Bardo will then arise. And where does it arise? It will start from our feet, the sole of our feet. And there's a reference to Grandmaster's book number 177, The Last Moment. The chapter is called The Last Moment. So depending on the practitioner's own cultivation level, it will follow the different chakras, and the Bardo will then leave the body from there. So the Dharma realm will never give up on all sentient beings. So here are the three types of power in helping to liberate sentient beings. So we have self-power, which is a target that we should set for ourselves in our present life. How can we accumulate the merits from our own cultivation? So during the Bardo of birth and life, this is where we receive blessings from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Only when we move on to the Bardo of dying, then we'll be received by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So there are very, very few people who are able to learn, to hear and learn about the Dharma of liberation through hearing the intermediate Bardo stage. And we ourselves here are part of the very few people who know about this Dharma. So we should remain very grateful. So previously we have heard from the Shakyamuni Buddha. So when he was strolling with his disciples, Shakyamuni Buddha then grabbed a handful of soil from the ground, and Shakyamuni Buddha said, "Look at this vast land, and if we use this to represent all the sentient beings, that handful of soil from the ground only represents those who are within the human realm." So this shows how precious our human lives are. We are all within that handful of ground soil of that's being held by Shakyamuni Buddha. We are all within his hand. So previously, when Grandmaster had a similar walk with the different TBS disciples, he also did something similar. Is the ground actually represents the different humans, then that handful of ground soil represents the disciples of TBS. So TBS disciples, we have there are so many TBS disciples. If we all gather at Tokyo in Japan, we will be drowned in the population there. So we have 5 million TBS disciples, but in the world population, we are only a minority, so this is really precious. And when Grandmaster let go of the ground soil in his hand, what remains actually represent the number of TBS disciples who are real practitioners, who are diligent in their own cultivation. So you and me, we are all really fortunate to be able to be part of Shakyamuni Buddha's ground soil in his hand, but we are even more fortunate to be able to land on Grandmaster's hand to be a DBS disciple. So we should really seize and make full use of this opportunity to cultivate diligently and be a real practitioner. In order to still be on Grandmaster's palm after he has released his handful of ground soil. And today we'll go deeper into the 4 different methods of being reborn in Buddha's Pure Land. So what are they? One is having the right thought. So the second and the third one, if so even if there's any form of madness, you can also be reborn in the Buddha's Pure Land. Any non-remembrance, you can also be reborn in the Pure Land. So why exactly, if there's any madness, you are still being able to be reborn in the Pure Land? So what exactly do the madness refer to? So sentient beings, whether or not they have performed virtuous or non-virtuous deeds, so at the point of one's death, there are many scenes of their past life being flashed upon them, and these scenes actually comprise all the deeds that they have done in their past life. So in this process of madness, they suddenly meet and encounter an enlightened person, providing guidance or even reciting once or 10 times Buddha's name, and the deceased is able to be focused and follow this recitation And so this represents a madness way of being reborn in Buddha's Pure Land. So when we talk about the golden 8 hours, we hope that it's not only being performed or can be performed by the Dharma propagators. We hope that all disciples are able to perform the golden 8 hours as well. So this goes beyond the Dharma of liberation through hearing the intermediate Bardo stage, but also what are the steps to follow in the golden 8 hours, so that we are able to help all sentient beings that are in this stage of madness. So we hope to be able to be an enlightened one, so which is why our own cultivation is really crucial. We should try our best to is at a state where the mind is unrested. We are able to put in the effort to settle the person down, settle the mind, and put the mind at ease, and allow the dying to follow in the recitation of the Buddha's name. And they are able to follow in the recitation, and then through this affinity get delivered and attain a rebirth in the Pure Land. And this is the second type of rebirth in the Pure Land.
为什么心神散失呢？我们可以从我们每天的做梦开始。
And the third one is
往生的时候到底会如何？因为我们的
when
梦中的景象
we talk about our dreams in our daily life. So because dreams are very similar to the scenes that we will actually experience upon death,
当中是否我们能够安住念佛？
are we able to be at ease and recite the Buddha's name during any nightmares?
景象在颠倒梦想。
So most of the time, people will follow the dream-like scene,
状况里面呢，我们
but don't forget that
平日念佛持咒的功德也能够
amidst everything that is happening,
所以呢，我们要
we are able to depend on the merits that we have gathered and attain a rebirth in the Pure Land. So it's very important to gather and accumulate all these resources and pay a lot of focus on our own personal cultivation and get this spiritual union with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and this will give rise to true light and illumination. Because don't forget, when we talked about our Grandmaster's book last week on seeing deities and ghosts, when you look at the chapter on the last moment, for one who is truly repentant and to cut. So don't forget that your own cultivation, and by reciting the Buddha's name, you are able to this is actually a form of great merit, and it will aid you in the rebirth in Pure Land. So the next point, in the hospital, we often see many patients who depend on different life support. So at the point of their death, if they are unable to recite the Buddha's name, which is very common in today's world, as long as that patient maintains that thought that which prays for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to come and receive them, it is also possible. So it boils down to the point of the importance of our own thoughts. Even if it's even if the thoughts are messy, and the key point is to be able to meet someone with the right wisdom and knowledge. They are able to follow the recitation of Namo Amitabha, Om Ancient City Home, and follow and be reborn in Pure Land. Then the third one is we look at maybe for that particular person during their daily life, they don't cultivate as diligently. Or even at the point of their death, they're unable to vocalize or verbalize the mantra. The thought is very important. So some people actually ask whether recitation, it has to be done in a complete manner. If it's bits and pieces, whether it's still possible, but whether it's still helpful. And Master Lin Yue advised that it's still helpful, is better than not reciting at all.
在心事当中，我们临危急难的时候，这个心事中的一切意念就会成为我们的一个救度的因缘。所以他在那个时候灵魂都已经
So all the thoughts that you have within your mind is really important. It will be an important aspect in our own deliverance.
是不是说要到分堂他就意念一想，他就到了一个雷藏寺。意念到了雷藏寺之后呢，他听
that momentous instantaneous thought is really important.
跟着念三声，莲花童子放光3度就接引了。虽然
So one can hear the recitation,
但是力量总是比较弱。
and because of that energy, they are able to
我们的修法我们
ride on the energy of the recitation and be reborn in the Pure Land.
自心一处，无事不办。但是我们现代人，我们就是太忙了。我所谓的忙，不仅是工作忙。
In modern society, we have everyone is constantly busy, not only with work, but our mind is constantly cluttered. We have our handphone on our hand. So for our own cultivation, it'll be very difficult to be ingrained within ourselves, but it's still very important. So we should encourage everyone not to give up on your own cultivation. Every affinity to be able to cultivate is really important. because this is the only thing that belongs to yourself. All external material goods and external fame, wealth, all desires are temporary in nature. We're unable to bring them away. So as we continue to be busy in our daily lives, we should always remember to leave some time every day to cultivate. For example, before sleeping, we recite 108 times Grandmaster's Heart Mantra, because every thought belongs to ourselves. No other things belongs to us. And when we learn about the Dharma of liberation through hearing the intermediate Bardo stage, we have great affinity to be able to be exposed to this. And Master Lin Yue would like to take the class to clearly share about the content, because it's really very important. And with this, we will then be able to find a direction in our lives and give rise to meaning. Give rise to meaning to our life. So when we look at these 4 different types of rebirth to the Pure Land, we are able to feel blessed, whether or not is it through having right thoughts or views, or there is some form of messiness, or so on. As long as we constantly have the thought of reciting the mantra and thinking about our Grandmaster or Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the power is unimaginable. We are able to have our Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to receive us to be reborn in the Pure Land.
根本上师如此的开示，根本上师说，要往生佛国净土，不只是在中阴身的解脱相。
So, Buddha Lin Sheng also told us that to be able to be reborn in the Pure Land, we don't only put in the effort when we are in the Bardo stage. When we cultivate the path of liberation and the path of the body, we should accumulate the resources early. This is really very important for someone, for the dying to be able to attain liberation. It all depends on the resources that they have accumulated during their own cultivation, and they're able to attain the time light and depend on differentiation. And then blend in along the way. So as part of our usual cultivation, we often visualize a Grandmaster giving us blessing, and we also visualize attaining spiritual union and becoming one with our principal deity or Grandmaster. So when we have the peace of samadhi, we often talk about entering oneself and oneself entering. We often visualize Grandmaster in the void, blessing us with and there's a light being bestowed upon us, and this illumination is very great.
如果今天我们是真佛行者，我们经常观想非常非常强烈的光明家。
Today, as disciples of TBS, if we are able to clearly visualize this light that has been bestowed upon us, we will not be afraid.
因为自己这股中阴、这股能量的气很弱
This energy and this qi will determine where you will go. So if it's very weak, you will enter, you will blend in with the light that is not as illuminated and vice versa.
师尊的显现，佛菩萨的显现是很强烈的光明。你看这个意念是不是进入到我们的心识之中了？未来，在我们
So if you can constantly visualize and able to visualize the light that has been, the light that is bestowed on us by Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and even Buddha Lien Sheng, it shows the level of cultivation and the level of the light, the extent of the illumination that has been ingrained in us. So if we have a lot of cluttered thoughts and a lot of desires, the energy is very weak, and hence we will be afraid of strong light, and we will then join the light that is not as bright. So the 4 types of Bardo, the knowledge of this is really important. We should cultivate the 2 paths here. One is the liberation path, one is the Bodhi path. So as we cultivate these 2 paths, we are able to differentiate and blend in more accurately. And another piece of the Dharma of liberation through hearing to the intermediate Bardo stage is to let go of everything and stabilize our mind, only which would light appear, and our soul would then exit from the crown chakra. So the first point on letting go of everything, is it possible? Is something very challenging. As we reach the end of our life, there could be many aspects that we are unable to let go of. So as we go about our daily cultivation, the first aspect is really important in this path of liberation, cultivating this path of liberation. How do we allow our mind to not be tainted by our external surroundings? So how do we maintain no thoughts in our daily life? We are able to practice in our daily lives. So for those who are here to attend the class, hope that everyone would see the 2 different points of importance through the class. The first one is to benefit our own cultivation and to see the preciousness of our life. The second point is also to help others, whether or not we are a Dharma propagator or just a disciple, how we're able to use the knowledge to help others.
所以我们要生妙有，在世间的这一切与我们有因缘的众生，与我们有因缘的一切。
So for all sentient beings that have affinity with us, regardless of the type of affinity, we should be grateful because everything is a perfect arrangement.
去行我们因缘中的一切，但是我们的心
Within all affinities, we give our best and do our best to not be tainted by external surroundings.
时时勤拂拭，莫使染尘埃。我们在这个娑婆红尘，你遇到的一切因缘
So within our secular world,
让我们的心中
we face all kinds of affinities.
亏损，没关系。
Are we able
一定
to
是有
not
污染的，一定是有分
are we
别的，
able
一定
to
是
not
不
be
清净。
tainted by
没关
external
系，告诉
surroundings?
自己，时时勤拂拭，
It's a question for
莫使
everybody.
染尘埃。一切都会过去的，一切是刹那交汇的
We
电光石
To
火，
tell ourselves that everything will pass.
安住在任何的一切因缘中。我们今天课程上相信很多的
In today's class, we have believed
法
that
师、
many
弘法人员、
masters, senior
道场的负责
reverends,
人，甚至
all Dharma propagators,
我
all
们都各在
representatives from the cultivation venues, all
发
disciples,
现我们处处的真佛道场都成为娑婆世界的摩诃双莲池。我们明白，我们今天在每个道场的因缘，都是我们此
So
生
we
很珍贵的资粮道。我们自然
we understand that
善待我们
within
所有
every cultivation venues, all
接触的任何
affinities
因缘，
are important resources.
任何一位有缘人跟我们
Any
相遇了，
person
是莲花童子，
whom we meet along the way through all forms of
还没
affinities,
有修出清净的莲花童子罢
they
了。
are all Padma Kumaras.
勤拂拭，
It's just that
改变
they
自己，
haven't cultivated to a point that
自己没有改变，
they haven't cultivated to a point that they are at a purified stage yet.
我们怎么能要求别人改变自己，来满足我
So
们的
it
期
starts
待？
from changing ourselves. If we are unable to
所以
change ourselves, how do we go
任何
about
世界
changing others around us?
每一处的道场都是摩诃双莲池，我们就要明白，
So how can we
这一生能够
allow
成佛为的是什么？
every cultivation venue
我们这一生能够有因缘这样的修，是
to
为了在
be
天
a
地中阴里面，
twin lotus
为了
pond?
所有的一切修，在临终的这个中阴显现任何的美好因缘的时候，我们都能够真的能够认取。不管是第一道明光、第二道明光，乃至于
So
我们
whether
中
it's
现
the
前，
first time light
是因
or
为
the
我们有
second
功
time
德，
light,
一切的功德力还是可以
whether or not we
认
have
取。
any
但别
merits,
忘了，心事是一个明镜。当我们一切
don't
的分别
forget
计较，
that
一切的贪
our
嗔心在我们
thoughts
的心事当中，
is actually like a
别忘了
mirror.
那也是业，也是
When
我们
we
要带着的。
differentiate everything that we
所以，
see
当我们
in terms of
深
our
刻地明
thoughts
白
and the
这
matters
教
that
导
we
是，
handle,
我
don't
们对我
forget
们的
that
一切
along the way
外
we
在
do
的一
bring
切因
along
缘，
the karma
我
that
们就
we
会比较
generate.
淡定，我们就比较容易放下，能够安住。
So
我们的
once
心
we
安
understand
定，
this whole
当我们的心
content on the
安定的
Bardo,
时候，就能
we are
够
able
有
to
更多的因缘
understand,
可以
we are able to put
在我们的修法当中。
put things down, we're able to let our mind go at ease, we're able to stabilize our mind and attain stability.
其实就是以念来转念。我们世间的念头太多太多了啦。
So when we constantly use our thought to change and address another thought. So Grandmaster has also taught us that one way to attain concentration is to visualize. If we can constantly visualize and think about our Grandmaster, and also visualize the blessing from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
而当我们没有办法舍一切的时候，
if we are unable to let go of everything, we are then unable to attain a stable mind. So this all starts with letting go of everything. So when we look at the 4 different Bardo stages to be able to attain liberation, so when we talk about this Dharma of liberation through hearing in the intermediate Bardo stage, we need to let go of everything, stable of mind, and only then would the light appear.
要看前面的2个很重要的力量，我们能够舍一切吗？
So
能够定心吗？
when we look at the light, what is the important factors? One is whether we are able to let go of everything. Second is whether we are able to stabilize our own mind. If we are unable to stabilize our own mind, there will not be light. And this weak light and energy will only join another of the same kind, and this will then be reincarnation into the 6 realms. So we should learn to let go, and every day, whether it's despite of adversities, we are able to accept it as it is, take things in our stride,
也不会把顺境中一切的福分受用完了。我们遇到逆境，
we remain humble and don't use up the merits that we have been accumulated or have been accumulating, and this will allow us to get past all adversities more easily. We will not be down for too long. We are able to be acceptive of everything in life. When we go through our daily lives, personal cultivation, when we visualize Guru living Buddha Lian Sheng, and we constantly visualize Grandmaster and the universe bestowing light upon us, giving us empowerment, we will gradually be different. So this approach of breathing in the white, and so inhaling what is white in color and exhaling anything that is black. So when we inhale the white energy or white light, we expel all kinds of negative black energy out of the body, and as a result,
当我们心定的时候，自然我们
as a result, our mind will also be at ease.
光
and we'll see our energy level.
所以入我
We'll see the energy field leveling up, and light will then naturally appear.
心灵的能量就提升了，因为我们链接的是在十法界当中佛的能量场。那么这个
Because
佛的
what
能
we
量
have
场
connected
让
with
我们
is
这
the
微小
energy field
的
from the
行
Dharma
为
realm,
所谓人道的能
and
量
this will
就一直不断地让
allow us,
心自然
allow this
光
level,
自然现。所以在前几次的
this
课程
level
当中
within a level of
大家
energy
分享
within
过
us, within the mortal realm,
就是
are
莲花
able
指
to
数节目
increase
大
this
家可以
level along the
看
way.
回播每一
So
每一次的
everyone
分
can
享
constantly
希望将这个珍贵的
do
教
a
法讲
recap
得很清楚很明白让大家从很清楚很
of the
明白
course
当中
content.
走向
So Master Lin Yue wishes
生活
to
中的实现
share this
在我们的
precious
生命
Dharma with everyone in a very, very clear
定心
manner,
光出现这时候不仅
and
是
allow
佛法界
everyone
光
to
出现
fully
我们可以
understand the
互助
value of
或者
our
叫
life.
自利或者当我们光出现的时候佛菩萨的光出现的时候我们去认取佛菩萨的光明认取
We
佛菩
have the
萨的光
three powers
光
of
出现
deliverance. We have our
灵
self-power.
从顶穴而出这时候我们一个往生者的中阴灵是从顶穴
We
而出
also depend on the power by
就维持
external
在入我
sources,
合一
including our Grandmaster and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
舍一切定心
When we recognize
光出
the
现当我
the
们的
Bodhisattva's light, and we are
光
able
能
to,
量
and
一
for
直
the
在
soul
提
to
升的时
exit
候
from
自然
the
会入禅
the crown chakra,
自然会入禅
we are able to
当我
then
们有
attain
过
spiritual
入
union
三
with
摩
the
定
same
入
light
禅定的经
by
验我们就
the
知道
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
三摩地不是三个字是一个实证的
And once we have truly
经验
experienced
我只能说
entering
是
samadhi,
真
we'll
实
then
践
know
实
that
证的经验
samadhi is
这
not 3 words, is
三 光出
is
现
something that we will truly
合
experience
一就安住在一个
when
无
light
所事合一
appears.
当中念头跑掉了再合一念头跑掉了再合一拉回来合一念头跑掉了拉
The
回来
Bodhisattva enters our
训
body,
练
we enter Bodhisattva.
平常的实
So
践
these 3 steps
当我们能
constantly
够如此在三摩地当
should
中
be
我们能
constantly
够入
repeated,
我很清楚
and we should
合
practice
一
this.
很清楚念头跑出去了拉回来跑出去了
If
拉回
the
来
thought
觉察自己
goes
念
away,
头一直在合
bring
一
your
当
thought
中
back and constantly
在
repeat the
一个
process
美好的
so
因
that
缘
you
当中
maintain
一定可以
this
接近
spiritual
什么
union
叫
and
做
becoming
清
one
广
with the
什
Buddha
么
and
叫做
Bodhisattva.
清空我们会入三摩地的经验你就明白了但不要骄傲这是加持见
And if you have
这是加持
experienced it,
所
if
以
you're able to
当
experience
舍一切定
the
心
scene
光出现
of
这是一
having
个
no
形成
clouds,
时时常常与根本上师在合一当中我们训练我们自己的念念在本尊就比较有把握
so to be able,
所以我们活着的时候
so usually
假设
only
他
when
是
we
100岁
constantly
现在
train
经过了
ourselves
多少
to
的
think
次
about
我已
our
经走
principal
过了
deity or
60%
grandmaster, we will
的人
then
生
have a better chance.
65%的人生但是这35%有可能只是一呼一吸之间哦所以大家能够听闻这个教法感恩根本
So
上师
for
感恩老师
Master Lian
然后
Yue,
感恩
she
自
has
己
already spent
没有自己的愿
she has
意
already gone through
这个正规的教法
65% of her life.
也没有办法听闻所以在这个整个
So for everyone to be able to get to know the Dharma, we should be grateful.
没有禅定，就没有第一个明光了。没有舍一切
When
定
we
心
enter
出
the
现，就
different
没有
four
第一个明
Bardo
光了。
stages,
但是还有机会第二个明光。
we look at the external and
当
internal
中阴现前，
dissolution.
这个中阴还是清
When
净的
we
念，
enter
清
the
净
first
念
and second
在
time
辩证。
night,
这第二次的机会，我
at
希望
every
我们
stage
所有
there are
的
different
都能
opportunities.
够把握，都能够把握，因为
Hopefully everyone would
师尊的教法很清楚，真的
take hold
上
of
帝的
this
口诀，
opportunity,
若合一，到合一就有机会。到我入，
understand the
这是第一
peace
个明
in
光。
samadhi,
我入，净光升起，
how we
融入
can
净光，这是第一个明光。第二个明光
allow
自
the
立，
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to enter
第三个
ourselves
明
and
光
ourselves
假设
entering them.
第一个念头出去了，没有拉回来了，中阴就升起了，因为中阴叫不清净的能量场。第二个
So
明光，
if your thought
中阴
goes
显起来，
away
那还
and
是
you
清
don't
净
pull
的，
back,
念念在本尊，还是清净的。再来，
the
中间升
Bardo
起的
then
妄念，
rises
中阴
from
就在这
there.
升起。还好，凭着我们日常修法的功德，我们做发菩提心的功德，好，我们在道
So
场服务的功德，好，我们一
as
切
part of our own personal
每一个
cultivation,
的善
depending on our own cultivation
我
level,
们能够得到接引的一
the
个很大
merits
的
that
力
we have
量。但
obtained
是这其中还要有自己的力量，还有自己的力量。我跟着持咒，
while
跟着念。
our Buddhas and Bodhisattvas
过了
can
3年
receive
就
us.
我
It
们
all
人人
depends
都有机
on
会
our own
希望
self
各位
power,
都要有把握。在走过
and
了4个
hopefully
形式的
everyone
往
would
生，
be able
不
to
管是
stand a
正念往
chance
生、狂乱往生、无
as we
记
go
往
through
生、意
when
念
we
往生。
go
你
through
看，
these 4
哎，
different
在
types
这
of
样的状
rebirth to
况，
Pure Land.
我们都还是有机会的，还是有机会的。
So despite
再
such
来，
circumstances,
舍
we
一
still
切，
stand a chance
一切
to be reborn in the Pure
过
Land.
去的，
So we should train ourselves how to
一切
let go of everything, tell ourselves
一
that
切
everything
都是
will
最好的
pass.
安排。不管
Everything
遇到
is
顺
a
境逆
perfect
境，
arrangement.
就是让自己修行最
Di-
美好的。
Despite facing any adversities in
一
life,
切，当你很多的心能够放下了，坦
we
然，
let go of
才
everything
能够定
and
心，
remind
定
ourselves
心
that
光才能
everything
够显
is a
现，
perfect
灵
arrangement,
魂才能够
and only
去
then
做。
would we be
所以，当
able
你明
to
白中医无教的度法，
stabilize our
当
mind
我们在日常说持、行持及日常生活当中，我们都能够运
and
动
be
这个
able
口
to
诀。那
face
么我们
any
面对在
challenges
本
that
尊其实
are
观想，我们也
brought
我们的
upon
心是
us,
合一的。未来我们的中医
and any challenges that we face in life.
就有把握啊！之前啊，我们今天的课程上到这里，从3力的救度到4种形式的往生，我要改变
So
一个
when
口
we
头
look
禅。
at the 3
我的口头禅是
powers of
人人
deliverance
都有机
to
会，
the
个
4
个都来
types
把
of
握。
rebirth
但
to
是
Pure
当
Land.
我们在临终中阴这
So
样的
Master Inri also
一切
wants
的
to
圆满的教
change
室当
what
中，
she
我们改变一下
what
啊，
she usually
我们的
advises
这个
people. Everyone has a
内在的信
chance.
念，人人都有机会，我一定要有把握，可以吗？可以吗？
So
啊，
everyone
一定
has
要
a
这样。
chance.
我们再讲一次，
I
人
have
人
confidence.
都有机会，我
Everyone
一
has a
定
chance.
要把握。法界有情，真的感恩
I
根本上
must
师
um
传授给我们这么珍贵的教法，
I must take
感恩
hold
祖师
of
莲花生大师
this
给
opportunity,
我们这么
and we
珍贵的
remain
中
grateful
医人教度法的一切
of
的教
Guru,
室，
Living Buddha
感恩
Nation of Buddhas
我
and
们大家
Bodhisattvas
能够有缘来听闻
to
这
be
珍贵的教法。
to pass down
所以
this
呢，
precious
我
Dharma
们
of
在临终
liberation
中
through
阴
curing the
今
intermediate
天
Bardo
慢慢
stage
的就告一个
for
段
us to
落。
be able
我
to
希
get
望啊，
a
临终
to gain knowledge of
不
this
断的重复在
and
讲解，
this content on end of
听
life
懂
care.
听得明白，所以大家别忘
We
了，
we actually reach a conclusion through today's
10
class.
点就看回播，在临终中音的这一段，
So if everyone has the time to,
在一起，
please
我们互相共勉。
catch the
那么接下
recap
来呢，
to
我们
revise
进入 Q&A。
constantly.
这个
And next we
莲
move
花
on to
明
Q&A.
海师兄
First
他
one
的
is
问
from
题
Lotus
如何
Ming
教
Hai,
一个
our
准
Dharma
医生
brother.
如何能够辨别他现在
So
正在
how
接
is
力
a
死亡
Bardo
人脉
be
的
able
环
to
境，而能够
differentiate
即刻觉醒，并
whether
需
they
要
are
正确的
going
应
through
对？好，
any
这里是在
delusional
哪里呀？
stage
我们刚刚说口诀在
and
哪
how
里？
do we face it?
定心嘛，是不
Because most
是？
of the time they are going through a
在经
dream.
历死亡人
Most of
脉
the
的
time,
幻境，
every night
外
they
分
go
层
through
面，
dreams,
是
so
不
it's
是？
not
外分
easy
层
to
身心
differentiate
灵
whether
这
it's
三个层次的痛
a
苦啊，
death state,
灵性的痛苦
a
是什么？一个
delusional
轮脉
scene
显
within
现，
death.
见神见鬼记那一篇是不是写了？是不是？每一个轮脉的
So
夜
when we
袭，
look at
它就卡住了，是不是？
when we
而我
look
们
at
怎么样
a
觉醒？
Grandmaster's book
即
on
刻
seeing
觉
deities
醒！哎，
and goals,
要听临终关怀，明白中英文教得度法的教示，常常放在脑海当中，你就知道，哎，
we should
我听闻
constantly
我听闻过这个教
know
示， 所以
we
这一切
know
的
and
幻境，
remind ourselves
舍
of
一
the
切
content
幻境要舍
on the
掉，
Dharma of
幻境都是
liberation through
空，
hearing in
明
the
白吗？
intermediate Bardo
舍一
stage.
切，定
We
心
should constantly
就在这
let
里，
go of
要
everything,
明白吗？
stabilize our
正
mind.
确的应对就在这里。
Everything is
因为
emptiness.
大部分
So
的
this is
人
how we
连每天
should
晚上的梦境
accurately
都不能觉知，
address
那不容易
and
察觉
tackle this
是死亡的
issue
环境。对呀，没有错啊。但是我们还有一种
because
往
it's
生呢，叫什
precisely
么
that
往生？
most of the time
无记嘛，是不
everyone
是？无记嘛，这叫
undergo
睡觉的时
dreams
候无
when
记，
they are
对
asleep.
不
It's not
对？
easy to
但是在
um
无记的时候，哎，我们
it's not
所有的
easy
修
to
行还
differentiate
是会
whether
产
it's
生
a
力量，是我
delusional
们救度的因缘，对吗？
state during
啊，所以
one's
我们
death.
一定要记得中英文教得度法的口诀。来，我们背一次
So we
中
should
英文
constantly
教得度法的口
know
诀：
and
舍
understand
一切，
and memorize the PIF
定心，
of the Dharma of liberation
往
through
呈
hearing in the
现，
intermediate Bardo stage.
灵
First
魂
one
从顶
is
穴而
to
出。再一次哦，
let
再一
go
次，
of
记
everything.
得今天话的重点：舍
So
一
this is the
切，
most important
定
point.
心，
Let go of everything
光
to
出现，
stabilize our mind. Light will appear
灵魂从顶穴而出，100分，太好了啊！我
and
相
the
信我
soul
们网
will
络上的
exit
同门也都100分，
from
给大家
our
鼓鼓掌。
crown
好
chakra.
的，我们今天的分享就到这里，告一个段落，谢谢大家。Om Mani Padme Hum。
And that will conclude today's class. Amitabha.
阿弥陀佛，感恩莲叶上师
Amitabha.
如此精彩
We
又
are
震
really
撼的授
grateful
课，
for
让
Master
我们
Lian
大家
Yue
真的受益
sharing.
匪浅，大家都非常集
Allow
中精神
everyone
的听
to
课，所以上师完全没有问题。
gain a lot from today's
灵魂
class.
们全部没有问题，还在
So it
回忆
seems
住，
like
还在
today
回忆住上师的课程，还在沉醉在上师的
seems
授
like
课
it's so
中，
clear
所
that
以
today
完全
we
没有
don't have
问
any
题。
太好
questions
了，
from the
太
class
好了，
人人都有机
participants.
会，相
人
信
人
我
都
们
有
都有把握。
是的，我们现在最新的
So
口
we
号，人人
truly
都有
believe
机
that
会，我一
everyone
定要把
has a
握。
chance. We need to grab this
感恩
opportunity.
感恩莲叶上师也
Thank
很
you
有
for-
耐
We're
心
really
的
grateful
解答
to
学员们
Master
的
Lian
问
Yue for
题。那么
always
下一个星
patiently
期呢，
addressing all
我
the
们
questions.
网络大学也
And
是同一个
next
时间约
lesson,
定大家不见不散。
we
因为
we
我
continue to have
刚
the
才
lesson
我们网络出了一点点的
by
小
True
故障，
Buddha
是我在
Online
录制中，
University.
所以就
Also,
没有非常
earlier
细心的
on,
听
there
上
were
师
some
讲课，非常的抱歉。
technical
没关系，你再听回播。
difficulties.
所以写不到重点出来，请大家多多包涵。在这里，谢谢
There
大
were a
家，
few
我们
technical
今天的课
difficulties
程
in the
圆
live
满结束。
streaming, so
我们也
our
请我们尊
MCDA
贵
made
又平
was
易进来的莲
unable
叶上师
to
跟大家说再见。
note down the key points, but it's okay. We are able to, everyone's able to do a recap. on YouTube,
人人都有
so you
机
can
会。
catch the
相信我
recording.
们一定会有
So
把握。
we have Master
祝
Lian
福大
Yue
家，谢谢大家。
reminding everyone that
谢谢
everyone
上
has a
师，
start,
感恩根本
still
上
stand a
师大加
chance,
持，再感谢
and
莲叶上
please
师，
grab this
谢谢大家，
opportunity.
谢谢今天
So
的翻译员，英
thank
语
you
翻译的新
everybody
闻助
for
教，
today's
印尼语
class.
翻译的美
We
丽
thank
讲
our
师，
lecturer,
谢谢莲飞
Master
上师
Lian
带领
Yue.
的
We
印尼翻译
we like
团
to give
队，
our thanks
谢
to
谢莲如
our
教授是带领的
interpretation
英语
team,
翻译团队，
our
谢
English
谢所有的
interpretation team led
幕
by
后默
Senior
默付出
Reverend
的义工们，
Lian
你
Ru.
们
We
辛苦
also have
啦！
our
也
Indonesian
谢谢在
interpretation
Zoom、
team
YouTube
led
和
by
Facebook
Master
线上
Lian
的你
Fei.
们，我们
We
下个
thank
星期
all
不见不散，拜
the
拜。
support team
拜
at the
拜，
back
阿弥陀
end.
佛，拜拜。
We thank everyone.
谢谢
Thank
莲
you
叶上
everyone.
师。
谢谢，谢谢人上
感谢先
师。
生，
谢谢莲叶上师，阿弥陀佛。
感谢连夜三师，拜拜。
感恩
大
感
家，
恩
谢谢美娥主讲。
感恩感恩，
阿弥陀佛，
上次谢谢美娥说呆。
阿弥
谢谢大
陀佛，阿
家，
弥陀佛，
拜拜，拜拜，感恩
拜拜，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀
谢
佛，
谢大家，阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。好，
Amitabha. Thank you
见了，
everybody.
下周见，阿弥陀佛。
下周见，拜拜，不见不散哦。
不见不散，下周见。
好的。